All systems go. Clear for liftoff.
What's going on, everybody? Happy Wednesday. Talking some hoops. Rio, 12 games, man. I don't know how many times we've had this year. You've already got the slate plan up. If you're not a member, don't know what you're doing. First of all, if you are a member, head over, check out that slate plan. That should be the first thing I would do in my NBA process. Of course, we got GPP core reports, cash report. Even if you don't play cash, see where the chalk is. Ceiling rankings, correlation tools, showdown core reports, of course, projections. You need that in NBA ownership. We got you covered throughout the night, updated as always. Rio, I'll throw it to you right away. No time to waste. What's your thoughts on this monster slate? Again, you've already been diving in. Slate plan on the site for the people.
Yeah, we haven't had a double-digit slate in what feels like a long time. I know we had a couple 13, 14 gamers beginning of the year. Just getting my feet wet again in these big ones. But yeah, slate plan's up. Obviously, on these bigger slates, got a ton of injury news, tons of value already popping right now. Yes, I mean, we'll do the best we can to break down everything game by game, all the injury stuff game by game. But yeah, I mean, it's a pretty fun slate, some big boy game totals. So yeah, looking forward to it.
Is there any broad slate overview? I mean, if we look at these Q tags right now, I'll list out some. Again, we'll go game by game. There's 13 games on the night, 12 on DK, and FanDuel did include that last Golden State Clippers game. So one more on FanDuel. Gonna have to be grinding throughout the night. Again, I'll say right away, it's Valentine's Day. I'll be out with the wife. I'm getting dinner. I'm not playing today's slate. If you're gonna be with a girl, guy, whatever it may be, not around your phone, hey, you can take some days off today. So of course I've already dug in, got my stuff, but busy day, night for a lot of people, and the association did us no favors with all these Q tags and all these times. So if you play, I'd be locked in around my computer. Like always, all nights, again, projections, everything will be updated. But on these Q tags right here, some of them, Jaylen Brown, AD, Zion, Kuzma, Tyrese, Barrett, Dante, Miles Turner, Garland. I mean, is there any leans you have on these guys? Of course, All-Star break is Friday, only 3 games tomorrow. This is the last game for a lot of these squads. Any initial thoughts on any of these Q tags, for, like roster construction, anything you want to do before you go game by game?
No, I guess just touching on the Celtics stuff, probably a good chance Jaylen Brown sits with this being a back-to-back, not playing a super competitive team tonight, playing the Nets. They just played each other last night. Definitely think tonight's slate is going to lead to more stars and scrubs builds. I mean, Luka's 12-1. He should be pretty easy to get to if you want to get there. But I mean, Jokic 11-3 is not that bad of a price tag. There's a couple guys in the low 3Ks that are projected to start and projecting as really positive value. So you should be able to get to these guys with relative ease. But, it's always going to be more contrarian to go with the mid-tier build. And there's a ton of great mid-tier plays tonight that we'll touch on when we dig through the slate a little bit more.
Yeah, I agree with you. I do think it'll be stars and scrubs because there is so much value we have on the slate. Only more value will open up. Like you said, there's good mid-tier options. 12-game slate. There's going to be a lot of solid plays in a lot of games. We'll do the best we can, crossing off some games, crossing some teams off. Again, 12-game slate. My goal when approaching these big boys is to try and make it like an 8-game slate, 9-game slate, eliminate some teams, make it easier on yourself. So before we get into it, always got to say hi to people in chat. Ben's in here, Network Academy, Sean Sullivan, Paraby, Jordan, Lachlan, good afternoon. I heard you're having a good afternoon, Lachlan, with a nice membership. You won. Beach Bums in here. Richie Smalls. Who else we got? Sean Sullivan, a lot of familiar faces. Again, appreciate everyone hanging out. Slate Plan Fire, always. Our man Rio does a great job there. We already talked about all the Q tags. Again, we do appreciate that like button. Huge time at the nation. Of course, the merger, as all of you guys know now, the Jen over with us, Hoop and Tambo, just did that show. Make sure to check that out. Marley and I did MMA show earlier, doing NBA now. It's a busy day at the association. NFL's out. Hey, a lot of sports going on right now. MMA, PGA, NBA, NHL. Head over, get in. Before you know it, MLB will be here. I didn't say NASCAR yet either, Rio. We do have NASCAR as well. Discord's open. College football is now an official offering at the site. Such a fun time. And guess what? Best thing is the price doesn't move for y'all. Still the lowest price in the industry. The annual is the best price we got. 6 months the second best. Then monthly. Do have weekly packages if you want to check us out. The Discord does not come with it though, but no better deal in the industry. All the content, projections for a low price to help you guys play more. Head over to SHIPITNation.com. If you do, make sure you do use that promo code Mayo10. Gets you 10% off any package. Shout out our guy Mayo. Let's go game by game, Rio. 12 to talk about. You're going to do a lot of the heavy lifting. My voice already tired. Let's take it away though. New York Knicks, Orlando Magic, 211 total, very low total. Orlando 3.5-point favorites. Injury report on the Knicks side. Bojan Bogdanovic, Hartenstein, and Dante DiVincenzo, all questionable. Obviously, very big news on the Knicks side. To start off the night, OG and Randall are still out. As far as the Orlando side, Markelle Fultz and Gary Harris are out. Obviously, this Knicks side, all these Q tags, I'll throw it to you to start. Do you have a lean on them? Because if some of these guys are out, they're going to get some ownership. As far as the Magic side, I don't know, Cole Anthony, Jalen. We don't have to worry about Jonathan Isaac anymore. We can say that right off the get-go. But I don't think this game gets much ownership, especially if some of these Knicks are in. How do you see it?
Yes, I mean, originally when I wrote this one up, was one of the games I was just looking to cross off. These are two teams play really, really solid defense, pretty slow in pace. So usually there's not a ton of viable fantasy scores. Obviously, you know, Paulo and Franz can get there at times, but I guess now you got to have a little bit more interest with how thin these Knicks could become with no Bojan. If he gets ruled out, this is the same calf he's had injured multiple times throughout the season. So the midday downgrade, usually a good indicator they're likely to sit. DiVincenzo, I know he had the little hamstring injury towards the end of their last game. I mean, good chance he sits as well. Isaiah Hartenstein just came back from an injury. So, I mean, there's a good chance that these three guys could sit. I definitely think Bojan will sit tonight. Probably just provides a safer floor for a guy like Josh Hart, brings Precious Achiuwa back into play, looking to go there. So the Knicks side, you're not even looking at really good value with these price tags. I mean, Dante 7.7, Precious almost 7K, Hartenstein 6.8. I guess Josh Hart is a slightly positive value or could become one at 6.3K, but the matchup is not all that good. So yeah, I guess still I don't really have a ton of interest in this game. If you want to go to Jericho Sims, if Hartenstein is out, I guess, you know, be my guest, but I prefer Bruno Fernando for cheaper. A couple other guys like Nikola Jovic for cheaper as well. So I'll probably still be looking to cross this game off as a whole.
Yeah, I don't really have any like Cole Anthony. Any thoughts on him? Again, there's so many, like he's projecting solid for me right now, but there's so many good plays on this slate. Like, is there any need to mess with a pretty healthy Orlando team, or you got nothing, full X?
I guess Cole Anthony could be playing with Fultz out, but I just don't think I really want to waste the point guard spot on somebody who's not even guaranteed minutes. 12 minutes last night against OKC. The minutes, we talked about this yesterday on the show, just the range of outcomes for minutes on Cole Anthony is so wide that it's really tough to invest into him, even at 3.7K.
Yeah, I like this. And that works. Heart will break your heart on Heart Day. Okay. Hey, if some of those guys are out, though, I do think Hart, he would be my favorite at 6.3K. Solid rebounding floor. The minutes going to go up a bit, but I would want like a Dante or some of them to be ruled out. And speaking of that, happy V-Day to you as well, Jasmine. First-time viewer, David, we appreciate you. Appreciate those words. Big Cat, shout out to Rio last night on the Fox call. Man, Sabonis, too. I was looking at that. When we get into some of these spots, maybe I've been grouping away the studs too much. Thought of that last night, seeing Fox and Sabonis in a game we loved, absolutely smashed. But good call that on Fox last night, Rio. Yeah, not much interest in that first game for sure. Last thing, though, any McBride, I doubt you're going to say it. Miles McBride, if Dante's out, probably not the slate.
I don't think so, but it's a little bit more viable with him having shooting guard eligibility. I'd much rather spend down at shooting guard and like small forward center as well. than a point guard spot. So I think that he's a little bit more viable and should play a ton of minutes. But they do have Alec Burks. I mean, for 400 more, I think the upside's a little bit better on Burks, so probably would prefer him with all those guys out.
Burksy. Oh, yeah. Burksy is stuff. What's going on, Evan? What's going on, Danny? My boy is right. Let's keep it rolling. A lot of games to talk about. Miami Heat, Philadelphia 76ers, 225 total. Philly, 3.5-point favorites. As far as the Miami side, no Jimmy, no Terry Rozier, no Josh Richardson. As far as the Sixers side, man, they're pretty thin. Still without Robert Covington, no Batum, no D'Anthony Melton, no Tobias Harris, no Joel Embiid. They're going to be without Kyle Lowry as well. I'm counting 10 guys on Philly right now. And what? It's like a Terquavian Smith, Kenny Lofton. I mean, man, these Sixers look pretty thin to me. I'll throw it to you on that side. Even with how thin they are, I guess like a Buddy, Oubre, Campaign, he's in the mix at 4K. I don't know. Talk about Philly. They're definitely thin. I'm seeing 10 bodies. The Miami side, though, in terms of ownership, Jovic will by far be the most popular in this game. One of the most popular on the slate. Got the spot start yesterday. Absolutely smashed as well. Expect the same. What do you see?
Yeah, so the guys I'd be looking to on the Philadelphia side of things, just the way that the Heat play defense. You know, they're really good at with their rim protection. They play a lot of zone, so that just kind of funnels a lot more of the opposing team's offense to three-point shooters. So the guys I really want to focus on are Buddy Hield, Kelly Oubre. Buddy Hield, you know, he's always been a really good sharpshooter. Been playing a ton of minutes since he got moved over to Philly. Pretty much the second 2A, 2B type offensive weapon right now for this team. So I think that he's a really solid option at 6.3K with a good amount of upside. Same could be said for Kelly Oubre. He's a little bit more streaky. I guess Buddy Hield could be streaky as well. Shooting is it's high variance part of the game, but Oubre showed really big upside a couple of games ago. Went for 50, had double digit rebounds in that game. So those would be the only two guys I'm really considering in this one. I don't really get the Campaign love as much, but I guess he's always been a really solid fantasy point per minute producer. I just don't really like the matchup for him as much as I do for Hield and Oubre. Tougher matchup for Tyrese Maxey as well, I would say. Probably have a lot of Caleb Martin on him, really solid on-ball defender. But yeah, it's a solid match for him as a shooter. And then on the Miami side of things, I think these guys are in a pretty good spot here as well. They're pretty thin with no Jimmy Butler, no Terry Rozier, no Josh Richardson. Don't think people will go back to Tyler Hero. I don't think that I will either at 7.2K, but that's he'll probably come in pretty low owned. I'm seeing double-digit percentage. I probably see him coming in sub 10% on tonight's slate. But yeah, Sixers, they've been a really good team to attack in DFS lately. They're second worst in defensive rating over the last 7 games, which is when Joel Embiid went down. They're allowing a ton of 3-pointers over that stretch. Slightly below average rim defense as well. Their transition defense has been really bad all season long. So there's a lot of ways that this could go. I think Bam is a pretty solid option, 8.5K. Already mentioned Tyler Hero. Good spot for Duncan Robinson as well. I wouldn't expect a 43-pointer again out of him in only 26 minutes, but we know what Duncan Robinson is at this point. A really good shooter. I think even Kevin Love makes some sense at 3.8K. Pretty high upside for him coming off the bench. And then Jovic probably going to get another start here, 3.1K. Probably looking at the best value on the slate, and I'll definitely be eating that chalk.
Yeah, to answer this question, it's definitely Jovic over Royce and Grant Williams for sure. One of the better plays on the slate. Would you have picked Cole Anthony or Campaign if you had to pick one?
Probably Campaign, just because I think the minutes are safer for him.
Yeah, do you think this Terquavian Smith guy is going to see run at the 1? Like now that, because they have 10 bodies, so do you think they're going to play 10? Do you think Kenny Lofton and Terquavian Smith's going to play? Because if not, Campaign, I guess Maxey can run out 40 minutes, but 4K there. Mo Bamba really is the only backup. I'm not looking for that on this slate. It's just center eligible, but they're so thin and they're not really getting the ownership. Any thoughts on the Smith and Lofton? Are they going to get run? Are they going to play 10 or are they going to play 8? 3.5-point spread again, assuming the game's close.
I think the most likely thing is they just run a tighter rotation, probably 9 to 8 guys, I would think. The guard spot is like the one area that they do have some depth. The places they don't, front court, power forward, small forward, I guess, if you consider, Melton, Tobias Harris, those positions. I think that the guys that are going to see the most run, or like the backups, would probably be like a KJ Martin. Ricky Council been getting a little bit more minutes as well, but I don't think that Terquavian Smith or Kenny Lofton are really in play tonight.
Who do you think they start? Maxey, Buddy, Oubre, Paul Reed, and who would be the fourth or fifth?
Let me double check, because it could be either KJ or Council. Let me check.
I was thinking one of those two as well. Yeah, I want to say it's. I mean, we just got to go to popcorn to see. We've been not Phoenix, so we haven't been watching basketball. I want to say it's going to be KJ Martin. And
yeah, it was KJ, I think.
Yeah, KJ said Lockman. It was too. I think it'll be KJ as well. Yeah, I mean, how I'll wrap up this game, even with how thin the Philly side is, my favorites are Buddy and Oubre. Just give me the wings that are going to play all the minutes. I think Campaign is There's enough value on this 12-game slate. But, yeah, it's Buddy, it's Oubre. Maxey, I think, is fine, too. All these guys are fine. They're thin, but that's how I rank them. Buddy, Oubre, Maxey. The other side, though, Jovic is my favorite. Duncan Robinson, monster game yesterday. He'd be number 2. I still think, like, Bam, Kevin Love. Center's loaded on this slate. Jovic at least has power forward eligibility. We're going to get to Bruno Fernando. He's just center eligible. Center's loaded, though, which will keep Love and Bam's ownership in check. I think they're fine contrarian spends with a lot of upside in this one. Hero, I think, is fine as well. Any final thoughts, man? I mean, Miami, good spot. Philly's thin. It's a game we can get to, but I don't think any game we need to go overboard with so many good options on this 12-game.
Yeah, I agree. Definitely not a game I'm looking to game stack at all. There's some way higher totals I'm excited about later in the night, so don't think you need to go overboard with it.
For sure. Appreciate that, Billy. You bet. Let's keep it rolling. Another 7 p.m. Eastern game, 3 of 3. Atlanta Hawks, Charlotte Hornets, big total, 238.5. Atlanta 6-point favorites. Injury report in this one on the Charlotte side. Charlotte still without LaMelo, Mark Williams, no changes. As far as the Hawks, Capella's out like he has been. Okongwu is now out, as well as Wesley Matthews, AJ Griffin. That means nothing. But without the two centers, man, Bruno Fernando, we just talked about him. Just center eligible on this slate, 3.6K. Will be another one of the most popular plays on the slate. Jovic, Bruno Fernando. This is why we're talking stars and scrubs. There's enough smash value on this slate. Outside of Bruno Fernando, though, I will let you take this one away, Rio.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be a great game to attack. These are two terrible defenses. Hawks playing third fastest pace in the league. Charlotte's been a little bit down in pace in comparison to the years prior. But, Hawks games, they've really just – it's like, like playing Coors Field or something. There's always a ton of points scored in these games. They're just so bad defensively. So I do think that this is a game you could get multiple pieces of in both sides. But yeah, starting with the Hawks side of things, obviously Bruno Fernando, if he starts, going to be a really popular play. I think that he'd be a really solid option. But I do think there are ways that this game could play small. Jalen Johnson pretty big for his position. I think there's a chance that they run him out of the 5. I don't think you're really too worried about the defense on Nick Richards. They could find a way to kind of phase him out. But yeah, I think that this game has a really good chance to play small. I think we see a lot of center minutes out of Jalen Johnson tonight, and that has me really interested in him. Price coming down 7.3K, going up against a terrible rim defense, higher chance or higher upside for rebounds, stuff like that. I think Trae Young is a fine option at 9.5K. Cody Martin's done a pretty good job defending him in the past, so if he's in, slight dock to him, but I'm not gonna think about that too much. I think DeJounte Murray's even fine at 7.6K. He showed pretty big upside a couple of games ago against Houston, and you could even see his rebounding rates increase if they do run small. He's a really solid rebounder for a guard. Obviously, was triple-double machine when he was in San Antonio a few years ago. And then, the Sadiq Bey, Bogdan, and DeAndre Hunter guys, I think you can keep those in your player pool. I probably just want to be max one of those guys. Max one, Trae, DeJounte, and I think Bruno Fernando's fine to float around. But yeah, they could run really tight tonight. We could see really big minutes out of some of these forwards on the Atlanta side. And then on the Charlotte side of things, Hawks really bad in transition, terrible versus pick and roll, terrible versus catch and shoot guys. I think Miles Bridges, who's been seeing an uptick in usage, obviously with this team having no Terry Rozier, no LaMelo Ball, he's a really solid option, 8.8K. Pull up the numbers really quick. 25.7% usage rate over his last 10 games, which is the timeline when Terry Rozier and LaMelo Ball have been out, averaging 45 DK points over those games. So I think that he's a solid option. He's had huge upside in a couple matchups, gone for close to 70 in a few. Hawks are dead last versus power forward, so I think that he's a really solid option. Brandon Miller's, the minutes kind of coming down a little bit. I remember Clifford saying that he was a little bit fatigued. He could be hitting that rookie wall a little bit. So 7.1K, I'm kind of fine exiting him out. Same with Richards. He's losing minutes to Grant Williams. Trey Mann, I think he's been starting. Numbers have been pretty good for him, usage standpoint. 20.6% usage, 35% assist percentage, 34 minutes in his last 2 games, put up 31 DK points in both of those games. So I think that he makes sense as a mid-tier value option. And then Grant Williams, he's been playing a lot of minutes as well since coming over to this new team, but he's been closing too at the 5. So that's kind of where I think this game can run small. And then, Grant Williams could be a really solid option at 4.3K, power forward center eligible. The role has been pretty good for him as well, kind of taking on a little bit more ball handling. So I think that he's got pretty good upside versus a team that struggles to defend the 3-point line.
What about the Bruno Fernando? So I'll list a couple guys. Jovic will be very popular down there. Bruno Fernando is going to be popular down there. Your boy Keontae George is going to be pretty popular down there. If you had to fade one of those, would it be Bruno? If you think this game can maybe go small, like right here, Sean, it's Bruno chalk, good to eat, crazy high ownership, etc. With how Rio talked, and that's why I'm asking this follow-up, it sounded like he'd be the guy you'd totally be fine with fading his chalk. There's enough cheap options on this slate. Like, we're not starved for value by any means.
Yeah, I still think that 20 minutes out of him could be enough for him to pay off. So I don't think that he would be the first one to fade. I think that Keontae George, as much as it pains me to say, probably would be. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But, the downside has been pretty low for a guy like Keontae George, whereas center chalk values, I don't want to say never don't hit, but it's a lot. It's easier for them to get fantasy points just with the rebounding and scoring around the rim versus a guard. So I think that I would be probably more okay eating the Fernando chalk, even if we get, upper teens to low 20s minutes. I think that he's got a really good chance to pay off that price tag.
Makes sense. I really like Jalen Johnson in the spot, especially if you are worried it's going to go a little small. Like, they just don't have backup bigs at all. And with the Charlotte team, like you mentioned, if Grant Williams, Miles Bridges, if they'll go small 5 like that, or Richards isn't really a scary 5 where you feel like awful with Jalen Johnson at the 5. You got to play more team defense. So, yeah, I do not mind Jalen Johnson one bit. Fernando's going to be popular. I think Trey Mann is also fine in this spot.
I just want to bring this up really quick from Nuance because, I do agree with you that Nick Richards definitely not small by any means, but with the addition to Grant Williams to the Hornets, he has not been closing in the last 2 games. I think that's kind of here to stay. They can run Bridges at the 5 a little bit, or Grant Williams is a small ball 5, but yeah, they've been closing with Bridges, Cody Martin, Brandon Miller, Grant Williams, sometimes Trey Mann, and Nick Richards has been the one that's kind of benefited negatively since the addition of Grant Williams.
Good shout. And any someone said, how many is too many from this game? And again, it's kind of like, this is definitely a great game to target, but again, I don't see any just one game on this 12-game slate. Like, the more games there are in the slate, it's the more you just need the nuts. And if you play 5 guys in the same game, well, obviously only 2 can score at the same time, and it's basketball. I don't know. I guess how I'm trying to portray this is I don't want to game stack or jam any one team because there's just enough options of 24 teams that someone's going to take over, and there's enough value on the slate. So I would say probably 4, but I'm not really going to be making it. Again, I'm not playing. If I was playing, I wouldn't be making any rules, max this, max that, really, in terms of like players in a game, just because, I don't think you're just going to, like, the solver is not going to jam in 5-6 guys in the same game on a slate like this. And I definitely wouldn't do it if I'm hand building. So anything you want to say, I guess, to that question?
No, I agree with you. I would say probably 1 to 2 on both sides is the max I would go. Don't want to go too overboard on any one game on this big of a slate.
Yep, we're lockstep there. We'll keep it rolling. 12 games to talk about. Appreciate all 100 of you hanging out. We appreciate that like button. Appreciate that subscribe button. And if you want to join us at the Nation, no better time. NASCAR on Sunday, college football streets. We do have a college basketball portion in Discord too. Again, completely free, not charged. Members run that. NHL going on. Big, actually, with this All-Star break coming up for NBA. Nate said there's 200K up top one of these days in NHL. So no better time getting the NHL streets. A lot of fish out there. We have a good NHL team. We have projections, of course, all updated throughout the night. SHIPITNation.com. Head over, join the Nation, get in the Discord as well. Next game on the slate, Rio, we got Chicago Bulls, Cleveland Cavaliers, 222.5 total. Cavs 10-point favorites. Injury report on the Cavs side: Sam Merrill, Dean Wade, Darius Garland, all questionable. As far as the Chicago side, still without Levine and Pat Will. Alex Caruso is questionable again. If Caruso's out, probably Torrey Craig slides in the starting lineup again, I'd assume. Still really not sure we need that on a slate like this. If we have to cross off a game, this is probably one of the first spots I'm going to, assuming Garland is in. If Garland's out, maybe that changes a bit. The D. Mitch of the world. Jarrett Allen's been playing good ball. But, yeah, I guess Garland's out. I like D. Mitch, although he's kind of a full fade maybe outside of Jarrett Allen. But he's at a good center position, so I guess I'll say fade.
Yeah, totally agree with you on that. Would definitely need Garland to be out in this one. Matchup-wise, pretty good spot for some of these Cavaliers. Bulls been pretty solid all year long defensively, but they are dead last in catch and shoot points allowed per game. So I think that guys like Strus, Karis LeVert, Donovan Mitchell, obviously you need those guys to get minutes. So I would need Garland out for me to get to a Strus or a Karis LeVert. Even then, I don't think that they're great by any means at 5K, 5.1K. But yeah, the role would be much better for Donovan Mitchell. It's been, usage has still been there with Mobley and Darius Garland returning. But I mean, the area that Donovan Mitchell gets the most of his points is pick and roll, ball handling. Bulls are they allow the least amount of points per game to pick and roll ball handlers, but they're bottom 3 to pick and roll men. So I think that, if anything, you see a higher assist rate from Donovan tonight if Garland were to be out. Also has the added bonus with the off-ball shooters having good matchups. I think that he could have a pretty big assist night if Garland were to miss. But that's really all I'm looking at here. I think the prices are fair enough. I don't know. I mean, if Garland was out, you could look to him at 5K. He does have shooting guard eligibility, but pretty low game total here. So I'm not super excited about it.
Yeah, again, this 12-game slate, we keep saying it, but you really want upside. Like the shipper today has to be flames at every single position. You can't even afford like a no flame. I just don't know if that upside's really there enough for like LeVert. Even if Garland's out, it feels like the pick and roll with D. Mitch and Jarrett Allen will be pretty much their offense. Yeah, I'll say no to LeVert. I don't think he's the worst play at 5K though. But again, I want 5K today. I probably want 35 plus, and I just don't feel great about that from LeVert in the mid tier. Let's keep it rolling. Next game on the slate. It's one with some interesting injury news. The Boston stuff. You touched on it earlier, but Nets, Boston, 227 total. Boston, big favorites at 13. Ben Simmons is out on the Nets side. That is it. Boston, though, Horford's out. Jaylen Brown is questionable. So I guess right on this note, I would assume Jaylen Brown would miss. I mean, monster. Why would you play him against the Nets? Huge favorites at home. Let Tatum do his thing, go into the All-Star break, regroup after that. If that's the case, I think Tatum at 9.6K is a very solid play. Outside of him, though, there's still enough bodies on Boston with this spread. I don't think it's really anywhere else. Just Tatum or bust. I guess I take that back. The Derek Whites, Porzingis, the Drews, any of them would be fine. I definitely don't love it, though. And then the Nets side, yeah, definitely no. I mean, easy fade for the Nets. So what does Jaylen Brown do for you? And do you agree you think he misses?
Yeah, I do agree. I definitely think that he misses tonight. Good spot for him to get the night off. Hasn't really been playing all that well lately. So, yeah, they're going to get Porzingis back tonight. Al Horford's already been ruled out. So, yeah, I mean, you probably see Sam Hauser step back from the starting lineup. I guess they could go Luke Cornett at the 5 if they wanted to, but it's usually been Sam Hauser when any one of these like wings or guards misses. But yeah, I mean, a lot more usage going to be funneling to Jason Tatum. Really good match for him. Obviously, he showed it last night, put up the 75-pointer. He played amazing, had like 40 something at halftime. Porzingis, pretty good spot for him as well. Don't love the matchup for interior scorers versus Nick Claxton. He's been pretty solid defending the rim, but the Nets have been a little bit more vulnerable to 3-point shooters. Pretty good price tag for Porzingis as well, 7.8K with the power forward eligibility. And then I'd be fine going back to Derek White at 6.3K. Definitely been a guy that's benefited all season long with any sort of these starters missing games. The usage numbers go up, the per 36 numbers go way up as well. So he'd probably be the guy I'm looking to as well, especially with Drew Holiday having the big night last night. I probably would just go to Derek White. And then, not really anything on the Nets side. I have to keep an eye on the starting lineup. There's a chance Dennis Schroeder starts for Ben Simmons, but more than likely it'll just be Cam Johnson sliding right back in there. So, I don't really have a ton of interest in them. Bad matchup.
Someone asked Bogdanovic ownership percentage. Definitely low. He said he'll be the fifth guy. 1% maybe. 1%? You think that's right, Rio?
Yeah.
Thoughts on Schroeder and Cam? Yeah, you just touched on that. If I had to pick any net, it would be Dennis Schroeder, but I still just don't really love it on this slate. But I think he's a fine play. Yeah, Lachlan was in agreement there. So we both think Brown misses. Tatum's fine. Outside of that, we really don't love this game much. Even without Brown, like you said, Brown's been playing bad. Still can't dribble without his left hand, and they're still probably going to beat him by 20 anyway. So, not a game much. Tatum or bust in that one. Keep it rolling. Next game on the slate. Still plenty to talk about. 7:30 Eastern. Indiana Pacers headed to Toronto. 245 total. Pacers 4-point favorites. Injury report in this one for the Pacers side. Benedict Mathurin, Miles Turner, Tyrese Halliburton, all questionable. No one's out means anything. As far as the Toronto side, RJ Barrett is questionable. Jonte Porter is doubtful. Close spread, big total, Rio. Anything I see at first look? I don't know. I wish we could. What's Tyrese's minutes cap, you think? Because 8.9K, you got up to 34 minutes. You give me 34, 35, 36 minutes. I don't think it's the craziest play at 1 to 3% ownership, but I'm a little biased, as you know. What do you see in this one?
Yeah, no, I like the spot a lot for Halliburton. I would say probably around where he's at right now, 34 minutes is probably the cap for him. They're really cautious with him. Obviously, they have big plans for the future. Gonna look to re-sign him in the offseason, so definitely don't want to re-injure that hamstring. But the minutes have been ticking up. This is a really good spot for him as well. The Toronto Raptors been trying to beat that drum home. They've just been just absolutely terrible defensively post OG Anunoby trade. Pacers games have always been really solid game environments. They've been a little bit better defensively, still a big rim funnel. They are now dead last in pick and roll defense as well. So I think that guys like Emmanuel Quickley, Scotty Barnes, they kind of profile pretty well in this game. Did see Lachlan drop a little nugget in the Discord before we went live talking about the All-Star, or they're doing a Pascal Siakam tribute video or something like that. So maybe he's motivated to go up against his old teammate. But his ball handling role has been increasing a little bit as well. So I think I like him probably the most, and probably the only guy I'm considering on Toronto right now. I think Quickley's a little bit too expensive. Pirtle's been getting cut down a little bit by Kelly Olynyk. So if you want to go with Olynyk, I guess, as a higher upside pivot to some of these guys in that same 5K range, you could. But I'm not sure that there's enough minutes upside for him there. And then, Halliburton, definitely interested in him tonight for the reasons I mentioned with the Raptors being terrible on defense. They're allowing a ton of three-pointers as well. And their rim defense has gotten a lot worse since Jakob Poeltl made his return. Another guy that I mentioned as a terrible rim protector. But I guess the Miles Turner news obviously is really big because we probably get Isaiah Jackson starting. I mean, they're pretty thin at the center position behind him. They have a lot of these G League guys listed questionable, so we'd have to keep an eye on them too. But I mean, no Jalen Johnson, no James Johnson, which doesn't mean anything. But Jarris Walker is questionable. Isaiah Wong, Oscar Tshiebwe, I think those are all front court guys. So if those guys aren't called up, you could see pretty solid minutes from Isaiah Jackson. And I guess that would probably be a pivot to Bruno Fernando. You probably would look to play both of them just with them being so cheap. But I think that we'd have to keep an eye on the Miles Turner news because it's really big.
Yeah, what do you think you like more? Jackson 3.7, Fernando 3.6. And of course, you can play them both together, but Guys like Jokic are just center eligible. We like Jared. There's a lot of good center plays like usual, but it only can get better if Turner's out. Excuse me, I think a midday downgrade or like an early morning downgrade. He must have woke up feeling sick or something. But Jackson or Bruno Fernando, if Jackson starts at the 5 and Turner's out.
Yeah, I would go Jackson. I'd go Jackson all day.
I think so too. And then what about, good shout here. I assume if RJ's out, Bruce Brown would slide in for him. Any thoughts at 4.5K, power forward eligibility? Probably like the LeVert thing I said, just not the slate we need it. There's still Scotty, Quickly's, Trents. There's enough bodies there. I'm not sure. I need a lower usage Bruce Brown, but I do think he would start for RJ if he's out.
Yeah. He just doesn't do enough for me to get excited about, even at 4.5K. Yeah, just like you said, low usage guy. They're kind of going back to Scotty as the lead ball handler. Quickly's been taking on a lot more. So, yeah, I don't know. That's kind of weird that they gave him power forward eligibility as well. I haven't seen that on him before, I don't think.
I think he was like a point guard, power forward at times, or small forward. Yeah. He always has some weird – people talking about Bruce has some revenge in his blood. Maybe, but he ain't going to be a guy that's going to bring the ball up and not pass once and just ISO chuck it from deep. So he's going to be a guy to run the offense. He needs the peripherals if he's going to be on the winner. I would go Jokic.
Well, let me mention one more guy really quick. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. But I guess if Barrett misses, keep an eye on Ochai Agbaji. They traded for him. I think that they have some confidence in him that he could be a solid pro. Obviously, I know him from his Utah Jazz days. They're a little disappointed in his progression as a pro, but he's got 19 and 18 minutes in his first game with Toronto. So I guess if Barrett misses, maybe he gets to mid-20s, 3.2K, small forward eligible, really good price tag for him. Just keep an eye on that one.
Yeah, it's still not sure. It's probably the slate, though, hey? Even if it was, like, if it was a smaller slate, that'd be the real 0.2% on call. The problem is there's enough other 1% guys that are still very good out there. But, interesting. A solid shout, Kansas, dude. I did see Isaiah Wong, man. The Pacers bench is so deep. They got Isaiah Wong, the hooper out of Miami down there, too. It's cool seeing a lot of these college dudes that snapped on the roster but haven't played at all. But, I did not know Isaiah Wong was on the Pacers. Let's keep it rolling. Plenty of games to talk about again. Appreciate that like button. Still on these 7:30 Eastern games. Washington. Oh, no, actually, take that back. First game at 8 p.m. Eastern. Washington Wizards, New Orleans Pelicans. 234 total. Another big favorite are the Pelicans at 13. Injury report. Zion's Q-tag again. Cody Zeller's questionable. As far as Washington side, Kyle Kuzma is questionable. If these guys, both Zion and Kuzma, play, I'm taking this game, I think. Yeah, I don't like this game of Zion and then play. If Zion's out, I think Ingram at 8.1K becomes one of the more popular plays on the slate probably. Then I'd also look at the CJs, Herb Jones, Larry Nance. I guess talk about any leans on the Q tags on both sides, then take it away from there.
Yeah, I'll just start with the Pelican side. I think it's a little bit easier to break down. More than likely, Zion's going to play. He's been listed with this Q tag for, I think 10 plus games at this point. I think that he plays. I think he has a really good chance to have a good game here tonight. Made the slate plan. I was trying to find guys in this mid-range to add, but this is a really good spot for him. He's the league's top rim scorer this season. Second top rim scorer of this league, and obviously going up against a team that is dead last in rim protection. I guess they might have gotten a little bit better getting rid of Daniel Gafford with how bad he was defensively, but you're not worried about Marvin Bagley at all. I think Zion has a pretty good chance to have a big scoring night, but if he's out, you're looking to Ingram. I think that even Joe Val's minutes will be a lot safer. Good matchup for centers as well. Trey Murphy probably gets a start, and not a great matchup for three-point shooters. Wizards been a little bit better defensively. Much rather go to the guys that are scoring around the rim. And then Herb Jones been playing really well last couple games, 35-plus minutes in back-to-back games, 33 and 39 DK points in those ones. Wizards are pretty mistake-prone. He's a good defender, so maybe he gets a high stocks game, pays off that price tag. And then on the Wizards side, the midday downgrade for Kuzma, can probably assume that he's sitting, but you never know. If he does sit, then you probably see Bilal Coulibaly step back in the starting lineup. I'm not really looking to attack the Pelicans right now. I mean, they're one of the better defensive teams this season. 2024, they're a top 6 defensive rated team. The one area that they do give up some points to is 3-point shooters. They're allowing just over 13 per game since the beginning of 2024. So I think that if there was an area to attack, it'd be with 3-point shooters. I don't really know if the Wizards have many of those guys, but I mean, Denny's been playing really well lately, 6.4K. Small forward eligible. Tyus Jones has been playing better. Maybe if Sean wants to tell us if it's a Jordan Poole night, we can go to him. But yeah, just not. I mean, Corey Kispert maybe with the he's a good shooter, but yeah, I don't know. I'm just kind of naming off the names right now. I'm not too excited about these guys.
Yeah, I like Tyus and Denny if Kuzma was out. I think they're fine plays if Kuzma was out, but like you said, Denny, they're both playing a ton of minutes. Tyus got the assist floor, Denny the rebounding floor. They've shown upside, so I think both of them are totally good. If Zion plays like he has been the Q tag, I think Zion would be fine. You like Zion. I like Zion at 7'6" too. But if he was out, then the Ingram, the CJs, Herb Jones, I would like that side a lot more. So, yeah, Kuzma's out. Just Tyus and Denny, really. If he's in, not much interest. And then just Zion if he's in. Otherwise, the Ingrams, the CJs of the world. I would not, same thing as kind of like the LeVert and stuff. I would not go Alvarado this slate. He will be 1% owned, though. I do think Murphy is going to start if Zion's out. He'll chuck regardless, though. Last man in. Your man said for Jordan Poole. Last man in. All right, let's keep it rolling. Next game on the slate. So multiple to talk about. 12 games, man. What a beast. Doing a great job, Rio. Houston Rockets, Memphis Grizzlies. 218 total. Houston 3-point favorites. On the injury report in this one, Fred VanVleet out for Houston. Reggie Bullock is questionable. As far as the Memphis stuff, a lot of out tags that don't mean anything, but they have Derrick Rose and Zaire Williams. That's questionable, which, again, doesn't mean too much either. Thanks, Boomer. Projections updated. Again, updated throughout the night. Tagged in Discord. As always, he just ran the latest update. As far as this game, though, Rio, I mean, not really important Q tags we're waiting on. No Fred VanVleet, so I guess maybe these Amen Thompson, Sengun, Jabari Smith. I don't know. I guess start with Sengun at a loaded center position. Do you see yourself playing him to get a little different at a center position? In terms of ownership, I think people go all the way down or all the way up with Jokic. And then, yeah, the Thompsons, Jabari Smiths, Senguns, Brooks. Definitely more interested on this Houston side. But I guess talk about Dylan Brooks' revenge game, too. Didn't he absolutely nuke the last one that was in Houston? He had like a game winner or something. He let him know. I feel like he had an absolute game. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think you're right. I don't know if Fred VanVleet was playing that one or not, but yeah, he's definitely the type of guy that has a lot of grudges in his heart. Hopefully your internet's holding up. You're chopping up a little bit. We might need to take that tip money and improve the internet, but chopping up a little bit here. But I'll touch on Sengun really quick. This is a pretty good matchup for him. Has not really shown the same upside we've been accustomed to. I'm not sure if that's, a lot of his upside is tied to playing with Fred VanVleet. Obviously, Fred's a really, really solid vet in the league, good defender, just good overall point guard. So maybe that has something to do with it. But the Grizzlies, they were a huge 3-point funnel in the first half of the year. Ever since they got rid of Bismack Biyombo, which doesn't mean much, but they got rid of Tillman, got rid of Bismack, so they don't really have a true center on their roster right now. Their rim defense has gotten much worse. So I do have some interest at Sengun at 8.7K, looking at sub 5% ownership. Projects really well right now. So I do have some interest in him. Not sure how much better he is than the spend ups or the spend downs, so that's probably why he's going to be little to no ownership, but we have seen him touch 60 at this price tag before. I don't really have interest in Jalen Green. If you can talk me onto him, then by all means do it. But he's driving the ball a ton. So I guess with the rim protection kind of not being there for the Grizzlies, he could have a big night. Has had 60 a couple times recently. This just kind of feels like ceiling price tags for him and Amen Thompson at 7.6K, 6.5K. I don't really know. A good game from them is going to be enough at these price tags. I mean, I guess Amen, a little bit more value on him at 6.5K, been rebounding the ball really well, playing a lot of minutes. But
so let's touch on him quick. Last 3 games, his usage 10, 14, 14, 40, 32, 24 DK points. Like 40 is fine, but he got that done in 10% usage. 20, 21, 24, 21, 19, the 5 games prior. I mean, if you give me 38, 35 minutes even with the 20% usage instead of the 10, obviously you mentioned the rebounding numbers have come up, the assists. I mean, solid there. Like, he has a floor with the peripherals. Like, he got that 40 last game without a double-double. He scored 8 real points. And his usage was half of what it usually is or something like that. So, no Jalen Green, easy for me. But I think if you think he can get that usage up a little bit like the games prior, of course, I didn't watch these games. We've been busy all week and stuff, so I don't know like how the game flow went. But I think there could be a sneaky upside for Amin Thompson if he goes back to his old usage and plays upper 30s minutes.
Yeah, I'm just not sure he's really going to be that high usage guy right now at this point of his career. You need to be able to do more with the ball in your hands, and he has pretty much, I don't want to say no offensive game because he's obviously in the NBA, but he's not a good shooter at this point in his career.
You can say no offensive game. It's all relative.
I can't. That. No, we had a talk in the Discord about calling guys scrubs in the NBA, which I kind of agree with. Definitely not the guy that could be saying that, but
okay. I don't know. I don't know. I'll just say this quick. I don't know who is saying in Discord if you got yelled at. All I'll say is, dude, everything is relative. They're in the NBA. No shit, they're not good. You couldn't get by an 8th grader in 8th grade. So when we call someone a scrub, they ain't actually a scrub. They're in the NBA, getting millions, getting paid. It's all relative. So go on. You can call someone that. That's
a good point. But yeah, just little to no offensive game out of him. So I'm a little bit skeptical about what the upside. I mean, not what the upside is because he's shown it, but just a little more skeptical that he can do it on a consistent basis. So I would probably be taking an underweight stance, especially coming in pretty high ownership. I like the spot a little bit better for Jabari Smith for the reasons I mentioned about Memphis being a weaker interior defense. He's been shooting the ball pretty well lately as well. 20 points in 2 last games. Had a huge steal and block game a couple games ago against Atlanta. Sorry. So I think I like him at 5.8K the most on the Rocket side of things. I'm not really looking to go to Dylan Brooks as much. I did see Aaron Holiday get mentioned earlier in chat, kind of that lower owned value play, but he's been playing really well lately. He's kind of taken on that offensive role off the bench, 12 points, 18 points with double-digit shot attempts in his last 3 games. So I don't mind him at all at 3.8 or 3.6K. And then on the Grizzlies side, not too excited about anyone in particular. I think the only guy that would make my player pool is Vince Williams, but I'm even not too excited about that. I think that he'll probably get Dylan Brooks on defense, which is kind of enough for me to take an underweight stance on them. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm attacking this game. Not a ton of interest in it.
Did I miss your Sengun take? You said it earlier. I know, no Xavier Tillman. Memphis doesn't have the true 5s. Jaren Jackson could be in foul trouble. Do you see centers all? Bruno Fernando, Jovic has power forward eligibility. A lot of people play him there. If Turner's out, there's Isaiah Jackson. Jokic is one of the top spends on the slate. Is it dumb or is it a good contrarian? What do you think?
I probably won't go there just for the reasons you said. I like the spend downs, and I like Jokic as probably my top spend up tonight. So I probably will not end up going to Sengun tonight. But you could get paid off handsomely if he goes back to the high upside that we saw a couple games ago. So I don't think that it's the stupidest play.
Yeah. And yeah, so what you are compared to your peers. Exactly. A scrub relative to what you are going against. Of course, I'm a scrub on the show compared to Rio. Hey, I'll take that. If I had my wife hop on the show and I was talking ball with her, I wouldn't be a scrub. So it's all relative for sure. Aaron Holiday is a scrub compared to Drew Holiday. Just no other way around that. All right, a couple games left on the slate. 3 games left, actually. San Antonio Spurs, Dallas Mavericks, 242 total. Dallas 11-point favorites. No injury news in this one is what I'm seeing. And as far as ownership, yeah, I mean, I'm not really seeing too much ownership. Devin Vassell had a great game yesterday. There's Kyrie, there's Luka. I think if people do spend up, it's going to be more Jokic than Luka today. Way, way different prices, though, and center is more loaded. Obviously, the pricing, 11.3 for Jokic, 12.1 for Luka, so that 800 goes a long way. But I guess I'll start it off. What are your thoughts on kind of flipping the roster construction if Jokic is more popular, spending up at a different spot, and talk about Wemby, Trey Jones, Kyrie, anything else?
Yeah, really, really good spot for Luka tonight. Should come in pretty low owned from what I'm seeing right now. 12.1K, pretty high price tag. Should be able to get there pretty easily, but gonna have to deal with Jeremy Sochan defensively, who I do want to give some credit to. He's been guarding some really, really tough guards the last couple of games. Guarded SGA pretty well. Guarded Scotty Barnes pretty well. I believe he got the Paolo Banchero assignments. He's been taking on some pretty tough assignments and held his own, but Luka's a different beast. He's one of the best ISO scorers in the league. He's crushed this matchup, 72 and 79 DK points in the first two meetings. Spurs were kind of a 3-point funnel beginning of the year. They've gotten a little bit better there and a lot worse around the rim. And I think that Luka is a great spend-up option tonight and a really good matchup. And then I'll say Kyrie too. Easier matchup for him. If Luka is at all held in check, then Kyrie's gonna have to pick up some of that offensive responsibility, and he's been playing a lot of minutes since returning from the hand injury. Scored no less than 44 DK points in 4 of his last 5 games as well. So yeah, I don't think that I think he makes some sense if you're pivoting off of Luka tonight. And then Wemby, yeah, obviously he's a unicorn. Had the triple double with the blocks last game. First person to do that since Hassan Whiteside. So you're in great company being there with Hassan Whiteside. Yeah, I mean he's this is a great match for him. With the Mavericks getting Daniel Gafford over from Washington, talked about him earlier, just being a really terrible rim protector. I think Wemby's got huge upside. It's not a secret at all, but ownership looks pretty solid on him right now. I'm seeing sub 8%. Yeah, I mean, you got to have interest in somebody that has that 70, 80 point upside. There's very few guys on the slate that have that upside. So I think that he makes a ton of sense in a really good matchup. In the one matchup he went against Washington earlier in the year, he went for 49.3 DK points. Pretty modest game, 22-11 for 4 stocks. Yeah, I like Wemby a lot. And then Devin Vassell he's okay. Nothing really stands out in this matchup. Mavericks been a little bit better defensively in February, so I'm not too excited about it. But I think Jeremy Sochan even could make your player pool. He's had some pretty good games in certain matchups. Teams that have really bad rim protection. I think that you can kind of group in the Mavericks there now with Daniel Gafford down low. I don't think that Derek Lively is the greatest rim protector. A little bit better, but yeah, I think that Sochan is kind of a sneaky option. 5.1K. Kind of talked about that same pivot range, small forward, power forward eligible. So I think that he's okay. And then Keldon's been playing a lot more lately as well, but mainly looking at Wemby and Luka in this one.
Yeah, I did misspeak earlier. So Lively and Maxi Kleber are actually questionable. It's not like that really does anything on the slate like this, but you mentioned Lively's rim protection. So maybe a little something there. Yeah, not much thoughts here. Wemby, Luka, or Kyrie, I would make a rule max 1. Vassell's fine. I don't know. You mentioned Sochan. I'm not going to say that name on a 12-game slate, but he'll be very low owned. No doubt about that. 11 blocks tonight. Cobra, that's your prediction. 11 blocks for Wemby tonight. If that is true, Cobra, I got you $100 next time on this NBA show. So come back and collect if he gets that. Next game on the slates. What do we got? 3 games still left to talk about. Man, these 12-game slates, baby. Los Angeles Lakers, Utah Jazz, 241 total. Utah 6-point favorites. Injury news in this one. On the Lakers side, no LeBron, no Jared Vanderbilt. Anthony Davis is questionable. On the Utah side, I'm seeing them as healthy. So just Utah or just Lakers, no LeBron, AD Q-tag. I'll throw it right to you to start. Someone mentioned earlier, I wanted to wait till we get this game. Apon, there we go. Do you think AD is out with Utah favored by 6? Start with that because that's obviously big news on the slate with this game at 9 p.m. Eastern.
Yeah, I mean, there's got to be a good chance. I don't see any way how the Jazz in their current form should be favored by 6 points against this Lakers team right now, even with no LeBron. So I do think there's probably a pretty good chance Anthony Davis sits tonight. So if you are backloading, have a plan in place, have a couple guys, a couple swaps, but you should already have interest in some of these Lakers, even with Anthony Davis news. I mean, D'Angelo Russell, great spot for him tonight. He's going to see a ton of usage. Great matchup. Jazz are awful transition, awful against three-point shooters, awful catch-and-shoot team. D'Lo, 26.6% usage rate with LeBron off the court this season, averaging 44.7 DK points per 36 minutes. So I really love the spot for him tonight. definitely will be playing a lot of him. Same thing for Reeves. Minutes were fine, even with the Spencer Dinwiddie getting in there for 31 minutes. He's been a guy that benefits a ton with no LeBron. Pretty solid. 23% usage, 27% assist percentage, 39 DK points per 36. So I think that he makes a ton of sense. Probably going to see Spencer Dinwiddie play 30 plus minutes again with LeBron out. Not too sure what the role is going to be for him, but 5.3K. I mean, he's been shooting the ball terribly this year, but I mean, this is a pretty good spot for everybody in the Lakers. Jazz just really bad defensively. Rui would probably see a ton of minutes tonight with Anthony Davis out. Could see a couple minutes at the 5, but they probably would just split it with Hayes and Christian Wood again. And I think you could go back to them as value options. Don't think that they're much better than Bruno or Isaiah Jackson if Miles Turner is out. But at least Christian Wood has power forward eligibility now, so that makes it a little bit better for him. We know he's got pretty big scoring upside in a pretty solid matchup for three-point shooters. And then on the Jazz side of things, I mean, I like the spot a lot for Lauri Markkanen. Obviously I'm a big homer, but
you love your man. You love your man, Lauri.
Hey man, he's a best shooter in the league right now.
Get out.
Efficiency. He is. I'm just telling you. Look
efficiency
at
wise. All right, add that.
Yeah, efficiency wise. But yeah, the Lakers, they're pretty similar in terms of defense to the Jazz. They're pretty bad with their transition defense. Their 3-point defense has been bad all season long. They're one of the worst catch and shoot teams defensively, allowing the most per game. Lauri is the best statistically catch and shoot guys in the league. But yeah, the post trade deadline stuff, he's been playing pretty bad. But the Jazz kind of tightening up the rotation a little bit. I don't think they're going to be running out their 10 guys again. So I think that we could see slightly higher minutes out of these guys, mainly Lauri Markkanen, probably Keontae George, maybe some of these other guards as well. But yeah, I think this is a pretty good spot for him at low ownership. And then the Jazz guards are in really good spots as well. I'd probably be max 2. They gave Jordan Clarkson small forward eligibility now too. That's cool. Yeah, probably be max 2 of the 3 guards between Sexton, Clarkson, and George. Keontae George being my favorite. Obviously, he's let a lot of us down past couple of games. He got the start, I believe, last game, but still played 29 minutes in a blowout, 30 minutes a game before that. I mean, he's been really coming around as of late outside of the last game. Good spot for 3-point shooters as well, and good spot for a team that struggles in transition. I think that he could have a pretty big game tonight at 4.2K. Going to be pretty chalky, but I like the spot for him. And then Walker Kessler, if Anthony Davis is out, much easier matchup for him, less foul trouble.
Great breakdown for sure. So let's assume AD is out. We don't get that news, but actually, let me ask you first. Are you going to have any AD in your lineups pre-lock? You think he's out? There's only 3 games at 9 p.m. Eastern. There's 1 at 8:30. If you do play him, I would have multiple spots open to mess with flexibility. There's still Jokic you could play at center. You'd get either the Hayes, the Wood. You'd have other outs. I'd probably at least want 3 roster spots, but are you going to have any teams with AD pre-lock?
I don't think so. I don't think so because I really do want to get up to Jokic tonight, and I'm definitely going to be spending down at least at one of the center spots. So I think I'll probably end up skipping over him a good amount. But yeah, I definitely would try to do my best to make a rule if I have AD, then have a couple guys in these 6 p.m. games or 9 p.m. games for your East Coast folks.
Yeah, 6 and 9, just a little different. Yeah, and then I guess there's really no other. Oh yeah, if you had to leave out, just say AD's out, would you leave out Fernando? Or you already like Jovic or more than Fernando? So I guess Fernando or Hayes / Wood. Let's say Hayes. I think he'd probably get the start like last time. Who would you like more between those two? I mean, ownership discount. I guess I'll just say right now, if you somehow can manage it and you get Hayes, the ownership discount between Fernando and Hayes will be night and day, with Fernando locking early in the slate, and this game obviously not. But I guess you're taking more risk on if you don't get that center availability. So what are your thoughts? If Hayes was starting, would you like Hayes or Fernando more?
I probably would like I would like Jackson Hayes more. Think that the minutes would be a lot safer for him. Play 34 against Boston, put up 39 DK points. You'd get a huge ownership discount as well. So I think I'd probably lean Jackson Hayes.
Yeah, 100%. Right now, how I do it is I plan on AD being out. I love D-Russ, even if he plays. D-Russ is still a good play. Rui, I still think's fine, becomes a better play. I like Rui. Austin Reeves at 6'9", like you said. Even Dinwiddie at 5'3". So I say you can play some of these Lakers. AD's in. You don't love the other ones as much, or maybe you just want one or two, and if you have other spots you can swap to. But I still love D-Russ. He'd be the first guy in my core, no doubt about that, because he has so many outs. If AD's out, he'd probably be one of the highest owned, one of the better plays on the slate. And if AD's in, he's still a very, very solid play as well. So, yep, that's the Lakers and Utah. Monitor AD news. What's going on, Charlie? Yeah, Whiteside could be Travis. He's like a Drummond. Drummond and Whiteside remind me so much of each other. Their stock upside, but not great real life basketball players.
That's a Utah Jazz legend right there, Hassan Whiteside.
Yeah. Yep, he was on the Utah Jazz for you. Yep, with the Trailblazers. He's been around a couple spots.
Yeah.
2 games left. Sacramento Kings, Denver Nuggets, 229 total. Denver 5.5-point favorites. Injury report in this one. Trey Lyles questionable for the Kings. As far as Denver, Jamal Murray doubtful. KCP doubtful. Julian Strawther questionable. So questionable Strawther means nothing. Lyles on this slate really doesn't mean much either. No Jamal Murray, though, means... Yeah, Jokic at 11.3K is a smash play. It all comes down to just center eligibility. Someone asked earlier, and I answered AD or Jokic on FanDuel. By far, Jokic for me. One of the top plays on the slate. I think it'll be the highest owned spend, at least as of now. Like if maybe like D-Mitch or a Tatum if Garland was out, or Jaylen Brown was out, but I'm not even sure. Tatum, maybe. I'm not even think Garland was out. I still think Jokic would probably be higher owned than D-Mitch. Jokic, phenomenal play. Outside of that in this spot, though, I don't know. I guess is Sabonis going to keep the roll going? Well, I guess I'll throw it to you on that note.
Yeah, I gotta use Boomer's logic in this one. Definitely don't want to play guys on a back-to-back heading into Denver. I mean, the Kings guys played really, really big minutes last night. Got 40 minutes from both De'Aaron Fox, Domantas Sabonis. I think this could be a pretty big letdown spot for the Kings tonight. I probably won't be having any of them in my player pool. If anybody, it would be Malik Monk, just because he's been smashing 5.6K. I guess the matchup is a lot easier for these guards like Monk and Fox and Herter with KCP likely to miss tonight. He's their best on-ball defender. But yeah, Fox, he's obviously had a huge game last night. We benefited from it. But outside of that, he's looked pretty tired, just been not as aggressive this season, or at least as of late, outside of last night. So I think that, I don't know if these guys are going to sit, if anybody's going to sit on the Kings side, but I would definitely keep an eye on that because traveling into Denver, definitely not the place you want to play a lot of minutes after playing 40 minutes the night before due to the elevation. But yeah, on the Denver side of things, love the spot for Jokic. Already mentioned that earlier. He's going to see huge usage with no Jamal Murray tonight. 34% usage rate, average around 70 DK points per 36 minutes. Sabonis has been defending better. The rim protection's got a lot better on the Kings side of things, but he's still, we know what Sabonis is, not a great rim protector in his career. I think this is a good spot for Michael Porter Jr. as well. Very big downside, but the upside can be pretty big here. The Kings are dead last in three-point defense in the new year in 2024. Since January 1st, they've allowed the most three-pointers per game. Should see a little bit more usage, more offensive workload on offense with no Jamal Murray, no KCP. Aaron Gordon's been pretty good in his minutes with Murray and KCP off the floor this season, so he's an option, 6.1K. They priced up Reggie Jackson, 5.7K, so probably won't end up going there. But, yeah, that's pretty much Jokic and Michael Porter Jr. is all I'm looking at in this game.
Jake goes, what if Sabonis goes to prove-it game against Jokic? You'll get him low-owned. I'm definitely not going back to Sabonis. He's been a monster. A lot of that has to do with just center being so loaded today. And also 10K. Like that 1,300 is not enough. Jokic should be 12K. Like, without Jamal in the spot, he should be even higher owned than that. The reason not to play Jokic is center's loaded. Anyone else you really play right now, if you play anyone but Bruno, Jokic, Jovic will be a lot played at power forward almost anywhere. Like those are where people are going at center. Jokic, Bruno as this double spend right now. Other centers can open like Isaiah Jackson stuff we've talked about. Jackson Hayes, where you only can play. You'd have to make decisions. But I think two centers on most of your bills on DraftKings is a very good way to go about it. Not much for me to add. I love Jokic. Michael Porter Jr., I guess I'd maybe be fine with too. He's always got that upside, big slate, very low ownership. But yeah, mainly, I still think Reggie Jackson's fine actually at 5.7. They're still a usage above 20 without Jamal. I prefer if he was a little cheaper, but if he was cheaper, maybe ownership would be higher. I still think he's good at 5.7. Last game of the night, actually 2 more games of the night. DraftKings is only doing 1 more. FanDuel is including the Clippers and Golden State game. We will have showdown content for that, like usual on Monday through Friday. Core plays, the rankings, and a slate plan from Rio, how he's attacking this showdown slate. Solid prize pools out there. Slate plan's already up. Projections, Boomer updated, will be updated throughout the night. Correlation tool, ceiling rankings. Golf starts tomorrow. Pay-per-view season, MMA this week. NHL going on. All-star break for NBA. Means NHL prize pools go higher. We got you covered there as well. No better time. Head over SHIPITNation.com. Get in the Discord. A lot of these familiar faces, sharp people in chat in the Discord as well. And even more familiar faces with the DGen merger. Discord's absolutely blowing up. Very fun times. Daytona on Sunday. Come on, man. Great time to be a member. SHIPITNation.com. Last game of the night, Rio. Detroit Pistons, Phoenix Suns, 237 total. Phoenix, 13-point favorites. Detroit injury report. Isaiah Stewart's out. Quentin Grimes. Doesn't mean anything there. As far as Phoenix, Bradley Beal left the last game yesterday. What was it, like 8 minutes in the game or something? He got hurt. He's going to be out again. 4 minutes. 4 minutes in the game he got hurt. So he's going to be out again in this one. In terms of ownership, though, I don't really see much. I guess talk about Royce O'Neal. I see him popping a bit. FanDuel as well. Even more popular on FanDuel than DK. I mean, it really just seems like a price play, position play. He's fine. 32 minutes last game, but it's an easy X out of that. But I'm curious your thoughts on Royce O'Neal.
Yeah, they've been Frank Vogel been talking about getting him more integrated into the offense and just the team in general. So I think that he's going to play a lot of minutes as long as the game's close. Pretty big role last night, filling in for Bradley Beal along with Eric Gordon, Grayson Allen. All played a ton of minutes, played really well in his absence. Yeah, a back-to-back for both these teams, like a lot of these teams on the slate with almost every team playing tonight. Yeah, I don't know. We might see some guys sit with, they're playing the Pistons, so it's a good chance to give some guys some rest. Might be a little bit less likely with Bradley Beal out tonight, but, obviously you got to keep an eye on the guys up top like Kevin Durant, Devin Booker. I think that KD would be the most likely to sit just given his age and everything like that. But, I mean, they're a little too expensive on this type of slate for me to get there, regardless of how good the matchup is. Obviously, the Pistons been terrible all year long, getting killed at the rim. So I guess, Nurkic is in a good spot if you wanted to go there, but his minutes have been pretty low. They're running a lot more small ball. Good matchup for the guards on the Pistons side of things. I saw that Cade got a probable tag. He's been kind of sitting out on some of these back-to-back since returning from his injury. So, yeah, I'd expect him to play. Good spot. Very sneaky at 7.7K if you wanted to go there. Yeah, I don't know. Not a ton of interest in this game. Evan Fournier, min price, played some good minutes off the bench for them last night. Yeah, I don't know. I don't really have a ton of interest in this game.
You think it'll be Royce starting for Beal at the 3, or do you think they'll go like Eric Gordon like they did prior to the Royce O'Neal acquisition?
I think it's probably Eric Gordon, but Royce will play a very big role off the bench, I would assume.
Makes sense, yeah. Yeah, not a game especially if Royce O'Neal doesn't start, that'd probably be one of the easier cross-offs on the slate. If a Book, KD were ruled out again, without Beal, I doubt they'd do that. Maybe you have some roster spots with this, Denver game with some Jokic, the Utah Lakers game at 9. Some of your roster just naturally might be backloaded a bit with no LeBron there and the Jokic stuff. But again, if I'm playing AD or anything like that, I want at least 3-4 pieces is how I'm seeing it. But so many Q tags, a lot of them are so important. A lot of the important ones are early. And with 12 games and already so much value and solid plays, I don't think it's a slate you really should be backloading too much. Maybe if you play 4 teams, though, maybe one team have 5 spots late. The AD is out or certain news breaks, you can load up on games. But what's your final thoughts, Rio, and how you're going to build? You're going to be focusing late or backloading at all or anything like that, or just playing your favorite plays and adjusting as the news goes?
Yeah, I'll just be playing the guys I want to get to. Probably going to be starting my lineups with Jokic and D'Lo, and then figuring out the rest from there. I think those are the two probably top plays on the slate tonight. I don't think that's really a hot take, though. They're coming with ownership. I just really like the spot for them. But, yeah, I mean, there's some good game environments to attack. Atlanta, Charlotte, Indy, Toronto. I mean, San Antonio, Dallas, if you want to go there. I like the Lakers and Utah game a lot. So there's a lot of ways for this one to go. Going to see some really big scores just like we did last night. Would not be surprised to see 400+ take it down again tonight.
Yeah, I'd be shocked if it wasn't something like that. Again, our projections will be updated throughout the night. You need that in NBA. You need that in all sports, especially NBA, though. Some of these Q tags will be ruled out. All-Star break right around the corner. New value opens up. Maybe weird starting lineups. Projections updated. Constantly refresh throughout the night. Cash report, GPP core reports. Any changes will be in yellow. Check out the Slate plan, correlation tool, ceiling rankings, the Discord. No better price. Very, very good projections, good content, quality content. Pay half the price, even more compared to some spots. Use that for money you can play in your own DFS action. Try and teach you a process. It's not just, I love D'Lo too. I love Jokic too. We don't just give you full lineups though. Try and teach you to build your own process. And I will say the biggest part of pretty much anyone's process in the NBA should be late swap, because stuff changes. You need to adjust. And that's when you need projections to be updated, which we have over here for you. Use that promo code MAYO. Gets you 10% off any package. Great stuff as always, Rio. 12 games, man. Hour 10 talking hoops. It's a lot of them. All-Star break right around the corner, though. Tomorrow, the last day. Little 3-gamer. We'll have a quick hit video for that. Still slate plan, core reports as usual. And we'll be back after a little break talking some NBA again. But in the meantime, MMA, PGA, NHL, NASCAR action. A lot of money to be made. ShipItNation.com. Get in the Discord. Good stuff, Rio. I'll be seeing you tomorrow. We'll be enjoying kicking it at the fights. And I see my man Jake likes Volk over Taporia. We will see, Jake. We will see. Good stuff. Good luck tonight, everybody. 12 games. Let's see some Ship It Nation logos up top. Let's make some cheese heading into the break. For my man Rio, I'm Titletown. Be safe. Good luck.